Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ethereum is still rampaging to the upside. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about AGRS or AGROS, or I don't even know how you pronounce it, but this is a rapid fire session. So I'm going to go through a lot of different coins like AMP, AGIX. Let's see what else we got here. We got Kaspa, we got Aave, and we got ICP. We got Theta Fuel in the house. Let's see what else we're going to do. XLM, Theta versus Ethereum, QNT, and probably a few others like HBAR and XRP, of course, right? And we'll touch on Theta and we'll touch on Bitcoin. If you have any coins you want me to look at for a future rapid fire session, please drop them in the comment section, and I'm gonna take a look at it the next time we do it. So, without further ado, I'm gonna start actually on the price of Aave. So Aave looks pretty nice right here. I was actually considering purchasing some. I wish I would have done that a little bit sooner, especially because for me, I'm looking for coins that are at or around their bull market support band, right? So, for example, if you look at Theta here, right, look at where the price is relative to the bull market support band. It's pretty massively far up there, right? Which is a good thing. That's what we want. For a holding position, we want it to continue going. But for an entry or for a trade, I'm looking for coins that are either around this high or, better yet, around their bull market support band. So a good example would be something like QNT. You can see here, right? So, Theta is way up here and QNT is down here, and it back tested its bull market support band and it hasn't taken out this high, which is pretty good, right? So going back to Aave, you could see here the price is attempting right now to break above this high, and it's already starting to pierce above it. Also, it's still pretty close to the bull market support band. Yes, it did backtest that day that we had that liquidation event, right? And that's what I really liked about it. Man, I missed out on a lot of coins on that day. I got a few, but there's a lot of them that looked really good, including Aave right here. Because number one, a lot of them didn't get to backtest their bull market support band. And number two, they definitely weren't above their high, right? So, like I said before, the entry level was really good. And so we have this move, right? We broke above the bull market support band, which is this band right here. We came up, we tested it, and then we tested it again. And now we had an engulfing candle yesterday, right? But that was all followed by this 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Test the bull market support band, test the bull market support band. That's a very bullish setup, right? So obviously the entry would be somewhere in here, right? Or somewhere upon this break. It's a little above that, but let's see if we can get a pullback. If I zoom in to the smaller time frame, it's one of the coins that did break above the high, right? A lot of coins didn't break above their previous liquidation crash. Aave did, and it did so because, in my opinion, it's relatively low on the risk level because it's pretty close to the bull market support band, right? And also, it hasn't taken out its high yet, right? Which it's doing currently right now. So let me zoom out here and let me show you a few things. You can see Aave looks like a lot like, Theta or Theta Fuel, HBAR, Filecoin. they have these big, massive runs, right? They come down into their range, right? And that range is a Wyckoff accumulation range. You could see this move to the upside, back down, move to the upside, back down, right? Then you see the move back to the upside into a spring pattern, back to the upside into a spring pattern. Then you see the reaction, the impulse following that spring, bam, right here. So that's what we see here, bam, right there. So it appears to be that Aave is near this area right here. So once it starts to consolidate, once it's done consolidating, just like what Theta did, right, then it's going to take off. In my opinion, not financial advice. I could be totally wrong. Nothing I say here is financial advice. Just know that I can always be wrong. But I'm still thinking a lot of coins are heading up in their retracement. I've been right so far, given the fact that, ever since October of last year, I've been putting out videos pretty aggressively and more seriously. And that was approximately right when Theta, right, was right here around that 64 cent area. So finishing up this Wyckoff. And basically, if you're new to the channel, basically the narrative, the ideas of what I've been saying is when we were in here, starting here, that we were heading up into a retracement level. How did I know that? Well, you never know for sure, but all the indicators, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have an accumulation, you have a range, you have another Wyckoff in here. There's many different things that we're calling for, especially in Bitcoin. But let me get back to Aave. And you can see, basically, let me take everything off the screen because we know it's a Wyckoff accumulation pattern. Well, first, let me go back to Theta real quick so you can see what I'm saying here. So I'm looking at Aave as if it was right here. So that's where Aave is, right? Aave is currently battling this high, right? So, it back tested the bull market support band, and now it's battling this high. So if you look at Theta, what happened when it battled the high? It shot up another, what was this? Another 100%, right? But then we also have, right, an inverse head and shoulders and things like that, right? So when we broke that neckline, look what we got, right? So since it already happened, I'm not looking for Theta entries anymore at the moment. What I'm looking for are entries that haven't done that yet. So when you look at Aave, now I'm not saying Aave is going to do this. I don't know if it's going to do it. It might not do it, right? We don't know. But for me, it's all about figuring out if it is, and I believe it is. I mean, it looks like it's doing that right now. So if I'm a betting man and I'm going to take a risk, right, I don't mind entering a trade, right? You want to obviously have good risk management and things like that. But for what I see, it looks a lot like what Theta did. And right now, like I said, it was battling this high. So if it does the same thing Theta did, and not just Theta, but HBAR, many other coins out there that did that already, we get this big pop to the upside. So it looks like a good trade here. So we'll see how that plays out. So for what I'm thinking here for Aave is, let's put on the retracement levels. I mean, we are nowhere even near the 382. But if I had to guess, I want to see Aave get back up to the 702 or the 618. Best case scenario for a retracement. So that's between, say, $450 to $500. So somewhere around there. So maybe about a 5x from where it is now. That's a pretty big ask. We'll see how that works, and obviously it depends a lot too on if Bitcoin's going to break out into a new all-time high, which I believe it is, but we'll talk about that too. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend watching the video I put out yesterday about Bitcoin. It covers a lot. I don't want to get into it again, but you guys know where I stand on that. So looking at Aave here, also I want to see it get somewhere. If we can't hit that retracement, at least somewhere in this block up here, somewhere in this block where actually let me do this, make it more simple for us here. So from here to there, so somewhere in this range would be the target, right? And then even higher than that would be in that $500 range. And if we can get up there and start challenging this upper part, then I'm looking for a breakout of a new all-time high. And when you zoom out on Aave, now I don't know what the trading history was down here, but if I assume this is a wave 1, this is a wave 2, this is a wave 3, this is a wave 4, then this is a wave 5. Hopefully that's not the case, and this was a wave 1, this is a wave 2, and now we're in wave 3. That would even be way better, right? So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's just like, you know, my thoughts on Theta. I think it looks really good. I think it looks bullish. You say, well, I thought this was a rapid fire. We're still spending time. Well, because I think Aave deserves that time. I haven't talked about it. It is a popular coin. And also, look at what it did. It went from literally 30 cents all the way up. This is unbelievable. This is one of the best performing coins to $700. That's 221,000%. You show me a coin that went up that much and I'll pay attention. I know obviously some of them have, right? But that's incredible. I don't even know if I got it right on the dot there. Let's see. I mean, this thing is no joke. I mean, man, it was one of the biggest regrets I remember. I think it's right at that 30-cent line. And we're going to go all the way up to the all-time high. Yeah, so that's about 240,000, 230,000% around that area. That is massive. That is huge. That is very big, right? So if that's the case, right? And, you know, what do you think's going to happen when we break out? Well, I don't know if it's going to go that high. Now, it could work both ways, right? Yeah. Why would I want to invest in a coin that went up 230,000%? Well, if it is in a wave 5, then we can have some pretty nice room to the upside. So if I put a Fibonacci on here and we hit a 4.236 like most coins do, right? Then that's currently approximately about another 2,000. That's a 2,000% move. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Right? I mean, certainly no 200,000% move. So, man, that was a massive move. So, yeah, it deserves a little bit more time and attention here, especially because, look at this. We broke above, we back tested it, and we're barely now breaking out the high. Now, like I said, Theta is already up here, right? So now I'm not saying it's going to get there, right? I'm saying, hey, it's looking pretty good for a retracement higher to the upside. Now, if I had to guess, if I'm calling for something, I'm calling for it to break out of this range officially, right? So let's actually go to the weekly chart here. Let's go to the weekly chart. So it looks like last week, okay, so that's probably why. Okay, so look at last week. I haven't looked at this chart in a long time, by the way. I'm not an Aave follower. Somebody asked for it. I looked at it. I remember looking at it back in the day, and I should have had it on my list because I probably would have added a lot more knowing what I see here. So if looking at the weekly candle here, right? Last week on Sunday, here was the candle. Look what happened. We broke above and we closed above. So we've been in this range for how long? Look at this. We've been in this range since 658 days. We've been in this range, right? That's a long time. Ranging, accumulating, right? And then just last week, right here, last week, what happened? We broke above and we closed above. So now this week is saying, okay, we got the breakout. Now let's go, right? So that's what I'm anticipating. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Doesn't mean it's going to happen today. Doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow, right? But I think eventually it's going to do it. Now, Now, that's usually where I think a lot of content creators go. But I like to take it a step further and say, if that's the case, then how is it going to look? What is the route? We know the destination, and that's higher. That's in a retracement level. If that's the case, then what is the route? How is it going to get there? What is it going to look like? Well, it can look like Theta, right? Obviously, this is a weekly chart, and it can just keep pumping to the upside, right? But in order to sort of get a route, we got to go a little bit zoomed in here. And let me move this line up to here, right? So we have a 1 2 1 2. Now we're in the middle of a third. I think when this either two things can happen, right? We can keep pumping up and consolidate, continue higher, or we can come down and back test the breakout area, right? Especially on the weekly chart. Let me go back to the week. So we have, one moment, a breakout here, right? So we can actually come all the way back down and back test the breakout area around, what is that, $110 thereabout. So 110, 109, and then continue pumping to the upside. That would be really bullish. That would be a big 1 2 1 2. I don't know if I like that too much. I don't think that will happen. And the reason why is because I think it's a little bit too early to backtest. If anything, I think it's going to do a 1 2 1. We're going to get way up here, and then we could potentially come back down and backtest this wick, or even down in here, and then continue. If it's going to be a 1 2 1 2, which would be very bullish, right? And that's kind of what I'm hoping also for Theta. So we'll see how that works. So yeah, Aave is looking pretty good. Looking at the 1 hour chart, I mean, you can see here, and this is another reason I missed it. We had a back test of the bull market support band, and we had a 9 on the 1 hour chart. A good trade, right? Come back up here, we had a 9, right? Consolidate, and now we're on another 9. We'll see if we can, it sort of looks like on the small time frame. I don't really do small time frame analysis, but it kind of looks like a little diag here, which is a 1 2 3 4 5, right? So some type of little wedge pattern, right? And then typically that can be, ending something, right? So you can have a 3-way pullback and then a continuation, or even just flag out and continuation. Now, if it's going to be a reversal, sort of diagonal, then we can see something like this, where we back test this area. You could see right here, we hit resistance, we came back down, tested it, then we came all the way back up, we broke through the resistance, but we never back tested it. So this could be a part of a larger correction. So something like a flat where you have an A, a B, which takes out the high, then you come all the way back down for C, then you go, right? So that could happen. So just be cautious of that. Always use risk management. Always do your own research. So for me, I think the best entry was probably right here. So we tested it. Now during this liquidation, we didn't know how far it was going to go. So be conservative. Let's wait and see. So then we got the bounce. Okay, so far so good. Then it stopped, right? But then it pulled back. And once it pulled back and started going back up again, this candle right here and this candle right here, that was probably be my entry, somewhere right there. Now, given the fact that this is a 3-wave move, it could turn into a 5-wave move, which I think it already has, right? So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get that 3-way pullback, continue on. So we might get it, we might not, we'll see. Would I enter now? Probably not. I mean, if you're spot trading, or if you're just a hodler and you want to add something to your position, maybe, right? Maybe consider it. But like I said, not financial advice. I definitely wouldn't enter a leverage trade, unless it's a really, really good entry. So if I see, 120 or even 122, then I might consider it. So that would be it for Aave. Let me just do another recap here. Go to the weekly chart and zoom on out. What would be the breakout level, or what would be sort of the target if we were to break out? Well, the first target would be around $1,100 to $1,200, around the 1.618, 1.702. The second target would be about 1771, and then if we can really hit that home run, it would be around 2837. So that, I think that would be the max I would be willing to hold in a trade, is at 4.23. Can it go higher? Of course it can. Look how high this thing went. Now if I take a Fibonacci here and I put it all the way down, it blew way past that 4.236. So it actually went, well, not actually too much. It was about another 234%, right? Above where theoretically should have stopped. So yeah, we'll see how Aave performs. I think, it's just like the rest of the market. When the rest of the market's bullish, it's going to be bullish. So we'll see. For me, the important thing is we got that weekly close, right? And we back tested the bull market support band. Now we're starting to take out this high. It's got definitely potential more upside to go. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. I mean, you can also see you can see this here, right? Or even a cup and a handle, right? And then you have your Wyckoff. So Wyckoff looks like a slanted M. It looks like this. So basically that's Wyckoff. So this is your spring phase, and that's sort of where you want to be buying, right? Now, the spring can break below these lows, and that's what causes everybody to be bearish and go short, but then they grab that liquidity and then they take it long. That's usually how it goes. So we'll keep an eye on it. Now let's go to Kaspa. Now, looking at this thing, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I'm not saying it can't go higher. This thing can go to $1 million. I have no idea. But for me as an investor, there's no entry for me to get in. All we have is, look at this thing. All we have, if you're holding, that's fine. But look at this. We have all these waves to the upside. And you can see it starting to sort of level off here, right? So, it's very hard to know where this thing's going. If I turn it on to regular, it looks like it's just getting started. It looks very bullish, right? But it looks like we have a 1-2, 1-2. Then we come up for another 1-2, 1-2. And now we have another 1-2, 1-2, right? So it looks really good. Is it worth buying it? I have no idea. If I were to buy this, it wouldn't be a lot. It's basically taking a risk, because for me, I'm looking for, where can I get in at? What's my entry level? Now, let's see where this thing came from. This thing came, and it's been going up ever since, right? From 2022. So from May 2022 all the way till now, it's been steadily climbing. And currently it's up about 94,000%, which is pretty big, right? Now, if Kaspa looked like this, right, where it came up and then it came back down and then it sort of went sideways and then it starts to break out again, then you consider taking a shot at it. But if it's just going straight up, I mean, that's just one wave here. So if I had to count it, I would say 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're probably in the middle of the 5th. So we're going to get another high. So something like that, if I had to guess. Now, it's hard to do analysis on these things. But from looking at it, everything's going up. Everything looks bullish. We're above the bull market support band. Look at the bull market support band. Test, 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 right? Test. Almost test there, right? So if I turn on the weekly chart, what does the sequential say? So we got a couple nines, no big deal. Yeah, it looks good. It looks like, I mean, looking at it on regular scale looks better. It looks pretty, impulsive. So we'll see. So then, it's hard also to pull any targets on it. Like, you don't really know where it's going. It's at, basically, each time it breaks out, it's in another all-time high. So it's hard to gauge where it's going to go, is what I'm saying. Now, if I take it from the recent correction from here down to here, you can say, 20 cents all the way up to maybe 27 cents, right? All the way up to 40 cents. There's some targets up there. So hard to know. I mean, if you're holding, I would say this: if you got in, somewhere down in here in that 10-cent level, that 10-11 cent level, or better yet, down here in the 5-cent level, I would consider holding and waiting it out. Let's see what the smaller time frames look like. So yeah, we got a big three-wave move here. We have this correction to the downside, right? We had this impulse back down to the lows. Looks like a little Wyckoff pattern down there. Markup phase, consolidation, another markup, and then a big 1, 2, 3, or an ABC pullback with a sharp impulse off the bottom. So I would look for, if I'm trading it, I would look for, let's go down to the 1 hour. So is it a good entry at the moment? No. I would say no. Why? Because we have this big impulse up here. So that's a 1, 2, 3. So I would wait probably for another pullback, right? Unless this thing's going to go 4 or 5, right? If we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then wait for a pullback, right? So I would wait. I wouldn't get it now. Obviously, I could be wrong, and this thing can just fire to the moon. But it's looking like it's running into resistance. And also from here to here, it's up 32% off the bounce, right? So we bounced 32%. It's not a good entry. Another reason why is because look at all this resistance. You can see, right, all the resistance here, 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 and all in here. So this whole thing, right? And I mean, obviously we're starting to crack through it a little bit, but if I'm trading it, I would probably wait to break this area. Breakout, back test, that would be a decent entry. If you're trading, if you're hodling, it's different. So I don't know about Kaspa. What do you guys think? So I'll go on to the next coin, Agix. This is the first time I'm looking at this coin. Wow, looks pretty bullish, looks good. Is it finished? So, I mean, right off the bat, it looks like a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder. And here's your neckline. And we broke out of the bull market support band. We back tested it. Isn't that a common theme? I mean, breaking above the bull market support band, back testing it, right? Back tested it right here. And then we had this sharp impulse to the upside. Problem is, it's not a problem, but we're at all-time highs, right? So it's like, where's this thing gonna go? And so a couple ideas here. Let me actually put it on regular real quick. If I were to take a measured move from here down to here, right? And then there's that previous high, and then I take this and then I put it right there. Look at that. We perfectly pinpoint nailed the measured move. So I would say it's over. I mean, not over, but I would say it's over probably momentarily. We had a big move to the upside, we hit the measured move, I should say. So again, real quick, we have a inverse head and shoulders, right? Here's our neckline right here, right? Or you can even say a cup and a handle. And then you take the cup and you go all the way up, right? And then you take that. We pretty much basically hit the measured move right here. So now what happens? Well, I don't know. We can either do a couple things. We can either come all the way back down to back test the breakout, then continue higher, which would be a massive 1, 2, 1, 2. It would be huge, right? Another thing that can happen is, well, for me, the only way I would buy this coin is if we come back and we back test between 53 and 66 cents. I would definitely consider picking some up, right? But it's sitting at $1.17, no real entry for me. Now let's zoom in and see what we can see. And I am measuring it based off of linear scale, so keep that in mind. And we'll talk about that. So this thing can be still in the middle of an impulse, right? We have a 1, 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we get a 4. We flag out a little bit. Then we continue for that another hit. So then what I would look for is turn on the RSI, right? And then if we get that pullback here, we pull back in the RSI. And if we break the high and come up, we create that bearish divergence. That would be a good take profit area. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't know. Obviously, it depends on Bitcoin too. We are pretty far away from the bull market support band. We are in price discovery. So again, it's kind of hard to measure things like that. Now, if I were to measure it in log scale, then this thing's nowhere near to be being done. I'll probably measure it right at there to here. we're looking at, about $10. So about a 10x from where it's at. Now, I have no idea if that's the case. You don't really want to measure it in log scale if it's in its first range. So basically, if the whole chart is the pattern, you kind of don't want to do that. So like, for example, Theta, the range, I measured it in log scale, but there's not much difference from linear scale, right? Because the whole chart is this, right? And we're just measuring this versus this chart, we're measuring the whole thing. So it's a little bit different, right? But basically what I can see here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're in 5. So let's turn on the weekly. We don't have any bearish divergence, which is good. So then we can count it like this. Yeah, well, the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Which this whole thing would be wave 1. Then maybe wave 1's not finished. Maybe wave 1 goes a lot higher. Then we sort of go into wave 2. Then I would consider buying and then going up for that wave 3. If not, maybe this thing just keeps pumping. We know how crypto likes to do that. You think it's the top and it keeps going. Then it keeps going, and then you think it's the top and then it keeps going, and then you buy in and then it dumps, right? So it's like you don't really know. It's hard to take that risk. So that would be it for AGIX. I mean, yeah, it looks bullish, but is it ready to continue, right? Another way, the final thing I would say here is I can measure it like this. I'll take a trend-based fib from all the way up here. I'll bring it all the way back down here. And right now, we're around that 618, right? So at the minimum, my target for SingularityNET, AGIX, is the 1-to-1 extension. So about that $3 area. So if I'm a bull, my target is $3. If I'm a bear, my target is about 67 cents. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're still ways away from there. Yeah, so that's all I have to say here. It would be nice if we can get a 1, 2, 1, 2, and we come all the way up to $3, come all the way back down to 66 cents. That would be a massive move to the upside. So that's it for that. So what else do we got here? AMP. Now this is charts like this. I don't know if there's another chart out there that has more data, but it's a little bit hard to read because there's nothing to it. But right off the bat, I would say first thing we got to do is break out above this sort of potentially inverse head and shoulders that is created. So you have a shoulder, right? You have a head, right? You have another shoulder, or maybe this is a shoulder, this is a head, and then we're going to get the shoulder and then continue higher, right? It looks decent. It's not too far away from the bull market support band. It just recently broke the high. Still has to break this high. So, I mean, the only thing I could say now is if I pull a Fibonacci from the very top all the way to the bottom, I mean, we're still very far away from all the retracement levels. Let's see where we're at currently. To the 618. I mean, just to get to the 618 is about what, 1,300%. To get back to the one, that's about 2,200% thereabout, right? But I would just, there's a lot of gray area between here and here. There's like no trading activity. So I'm wondering what happens when we break through. Like we sliced right through it like butter. Does that mean when we get up here, we slice right back up like butter, right? And then continue? Makes you wonder. So a lot of times when you have these big downtrends, right, and you don't really have much of a base, what happens is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even, yeah. So about 5 waves. Then you're done, right? Then you pull up, you have this impulse, and then what usually happens is you go on these big, long droughts, or this slanted, maybe not, maybe it happens a little higher, right? So what I'm saying is maybe this gets a little higher, right? Takes out this high, and then it sort of bull flags, and then it goes. That's usually kind of what happens if you don't have a base. Now, like if you look at Theta, Theta has a base, right? And then what that would be is what? Boom, 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 Wyckoff, right? We don't have a base for AMP. We have an inverse head and shoulders, right? But usually when that happens is we don't have a big enough base to go, the bigger the base, the higher in space, right? So we don't have a big enough base here. So we could pump up a little bit more and then go down into that spring phase and then break out. So I don't know if that's the case. You have to ask yourself, are you willing to take that risk, right? There's so many coins out there, so many winners, so many losers, right? Is this one a winner? I don't know. I'd say it definitely needs more time to mature. And if you really are dedicated to the fundamentals and the developers, then go for it, right? But for me, I'm looking more for what coin has a good setup that I can put my trust in, and this one doesn't come near it. Now, this thing can go to $20, right? I mean, this thing can just go and rip all the way. You just don't know. But for me, there's no structure to tell me that's going to happen. There's no history. There's nothing for me to go off of. So I have to sort of take a step back and wait for an entry, right? And that's fine because, like I said, there's so many coins out there. Like Aave, right now the best looking one is Aave. That's why I spent more time on it, because it had the spring, it had the break, right? And it's attempting to break out. So Aave's like right here. So it already had that pullback. It already had that impulse. And now it's sort of on the brink. Maybe it goes up a little more, and then it comes back down. Maybe Aave comes back down, then it goes up, right? The point is, it's closer to the finish line of breaking the range than AMP is. Okay, so now the next coin. So if I were to put a Fibonacci just for fun to say where it's going to go, I don't know if I already did it yet, but I'll do it again. I would say maybe about 19-20 cents all the way up to 30, and then the last 4.236 is about 50 cents. So right now it's at 0.00518. So that's a massive move if we're to hit that. So if I put it here all the way up to that area, that's almost a 10,000% move if it hits a 4.236. I think it could take more time though. So just to get to the 382 is about what? Almost a little over 800%. So that'll be it for AMP. What do you guys think? So the next one was AGRS. Somebody commented this one. This one's very new. I don't know if there's any other charts that have a lower time frame. I'm already at 45 minutes. I got to get going. So it's in the all-time high vicinity, right? Right off the bat, I would say, okay, this is a 1, 2, and now we're in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So 1, 2, 3. Now we're in wave 4. Then we get a wave 5. So something like that. I would expect another high. What does it look like on regular? It looks bullish. I mean, we're in price discovery, right? We taken out the high. I mean, you can see there's no bull markets. I mean, this coin's brand new. It just came out. So it's very hard to know. Let's go down here, take this off. I like this here, sort of this pump and this long sort of range here. That's bullish, right? We broke out, we back tested the range. That's bullish. We came back up and now we're sort of consolidating. So yeah, it looks good. Let's see here. Maybe we're creating some type of ascending triangle, right? Something like that. Or some type of A, B, and a C, like maybe a little running flat correction here, right? It looks like we have a 1, 2, and now we're going up. I would be curious, do we break this high? If we could break this high, it might be a good trade, right? The measured move of that, the target would be approximately, let's see, approximately about about $14. So not too bad, right? I would probably wait for it to come back down here. So here's your triangle. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe get back down here, right? So if it is a triangle, sometimes they are, right? And then a triangle would be A, B, C, D, and then E. So something like that. So maybe it's some type of, like I said, a triangle in here, right? So I would wait for E if it happens, right? Or if we don't go down and we break this top, then maybe go long it, right? Now, I wouldn't use a lot of leverage, because if it's a fake out and then it comes back down for E, then probably add to the position before going higher. So, yeah, kind of hard to say on the newer coins. I mean, the newer coins, right, when a coin comes out, I mean, theoretically, that's the best time to invest, is, sort of when they come out. But it's very hard to know, unless you have sort of insider information, where it's going, how powerful is it going to be, right? Because if you look at Aave, it went up 220,000%. Did anybody possibly know that it was going to do that? It's hard to know, right? So, yeah, and another way to count this would be a 1, 2, 1, 2. All of this is 3, 4, 5, right? So then that would be like this. Actually, let me do the annotations. 1, 2. All of this is 3. Then we get 4. Then we get 5. So if I had to guess, that would be maybe something like that. Now, how high is it going to go? It's very hard to know, right? Because there's no real way to measure it. I can measure it two ways. I can measure it like this, from here up to here, back down to here, and you can see it already hit the 2618 of this wave. Now, we don't know if there's data going back further, so I don't like to do that. So, yeah, there's no real way to measure it unless you do it like from here back up down to here. Is this in log scale? Let me just check this. Oh, okay, because I am in log scale. No, I'm in reg. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I don't know how high this thing can go. Fibonacci's aren't going to really be useful. The only useful one would be this one from down here to down here. And you can see right now we're at the 786. So what I would look for is a daily close above the 786. A daily close above the 786, right? I mean, you can see right now, look at this. So this is interesting. Actually, let me put the daily on. Okay, so the daily chart is going to end in less than 2 hours. And you can see, look what's happening. You can see we are attempting to break out, right? So here was the highest daily close right here. So if we get this, so yeah, if AGRS, I don't know how to pronounce it, AGRS, if we break out and close above this line on a daily scale, then we could potentially have much more further upside. So that's what I would look for. So I'd wait for the daily close to end. I would see then, let's zoom in to the 1 hour. So there's your line right here, right? So now it could be like an A, B, C, right? In which case, you know, we got some more downside. Now, that would be one way. A more conservative way is to say, no, let's wait until we have a daily close above this up here. So around 11 cents, right? Because like I said, if it's a triangle, right, and you get A, B, C, D, and then you come down for E, then you go, right, something like that, then you want to wait for that dip. So we'll see how it goes. That would be it for that. So Ethereum is the one you kind of want to keep your eye on because it's sort of the leader for the alts. So starting off on the weekly chart, I mean, look how bullish it is. I mean, what can I say? And look how it started off, right? Look how it started off. We have a 1, 2, 1, 2. Remember, I talk about those 1, 2, 1, 2. And now we're in the middle of a 1, 2. This is 3. Then we get 4. Then we get 5. And that whole thing would be a 1, 2, 3. Then we get a 4 and then a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Maybe 3 goes up higher. I don't know. Right? Maybe 3 goes up higher. I think it does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have more upside before that fourth wave. It appears that way. Now, where are we on the Fibonacci? Because that's important. Okay, so we busted through the 702. So here's what I say for the altcoins. If you're an altcoin holder, you really, really you're cheering for Ethereum to have a weekly close above the 786. Because if Ethereum can close above the 786, Bitcoin already did it. But now we want the alts to sort of catch up. We want the alts to expand, right? Break out. I mean, you could see it is pretty extended. We have, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 massive weekly candles in a row. So, I mean, eventually we're going to run out of momentum. I would really like it for it to break through the 786. And that would be sort of the go signal for other alts, right? Because Ethereum is the king altcoin. And if the king altcoin passed through all its retracement levels, then it's sort of the signal for confidence for the other ones. So we'll see. Yeah, it looks very bullish. Zooming out, let me actually go to log scale here. So, I mean, obviously you have one second. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that's wave 1. You have wave 2. You have wave 3. You have wave 4. And now it looks like we need wave 5, which requires what? A breakout, right? So the 4.236 comes in at about $17,638. So let's see if we can hit that $17,000 mark if we break out. Now, obviously, I wouldn't be cheering for that so quickly, right? Let's first break out into a new all-time high, then set our sights between 6 and say 7,000. That would be sort of the first area I would look for. But yeah, right now this is looking good. We took out this high here, right? We took out the high, came down. Here's our close. We took out the high. A lot of times coins do take out this sort of high here, but a lot of times they just do that for liquidity before they back down. So bullishly, continuation, bearishly, here's the bull market support band. We have a correction. We back test it before going higher. So hard to know. Let's zoom in and see what we got here. I don't know if I'll have enough time for Theta and XRP, but that's okay because we do those often. Yeah, like I said, we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and another 1, 2, and now we're in the middle of that third wave. So then if I focus on this third wave, I'll have to zoom in a little more. It looks pretty, it's sort of hard to count, really. You got a 1, 2. I would say probably all of this is wave 3. This is wave 4. And now we're in that wave 5. But, you know, it's a tough call because there's a lot of waves in there. Now, this brings me back to Bitcoin. You know, like what I've been saying with Bitcoin, every time Bitcoin breaks out into a new all-time high, it usually has a tough time battling it. For example, and I've said this in the last video, highly recommend, and this will go to all the altcoins right here. So the last time Bitcoin broke out into a new all-time high was right here. So this was the all-time high, right around here, right? So what did the price do? We ran right into it. Then we had that big drop, which we already did. Then we came up and we took out the top and it seemed very bullish, but then what happened? But then we pulled back in this sort of bull flag. So if I had to guess, maybe we're somewhere around here, right? But this one took longer, right? And then even the time before that, the last time we broke out was right here. Look how long it took, right? We went up to the all-time high, we slammed all the way down. Then we broke above the all-time high, but then we slammed down again, right? And we have this flagpole here, awkward thing. We back tested the bull market support band, we continued higher, right? So back over here, it didn't back test the bull market support band because it had already back tested it a little bit before that. So going back to Bitcoin, it has not yet back tested it. That's why it should have back tested it here, right? So maybe this is a smaller type of correction, right? Where you get this move down, this move back up, then you get this bull flag, then you break out. So some type of ranging process in here. And if that ranging process occurs, we can get some alts to catch up. But if we really want to see them break out, we want to wait for Bitcoin to obviously break out and then see what happens. But a lot of times when Bitcoin either goes into distribution or some type of sideways range before the big breakout, a lot of alts catch up. So if that's the case, then we can start to see alts maybe start to see a lot of them pump. The week's ended already, and we did have a big bounce. So I would say starting next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, I think some altcoins can have some more follow through. But I'd say, a lot of them, like look at let's look at Theta, I guess. A lot of them haven't really had a correction, right? It looks like they are about to start correcting. So actually, let me zoom in a little bit further. I'm already over an hour. So there goes my algorithm for views. So if you can, it would be awesome if you can like the video and leave a comment. The algorithms, when you get past 10 minutes, the algorithm slows. When you get past 30 minutes, it slows further. And then anything even close to an hour, it really kills the algo. But hopefully the content makes up for it. Okay, so for Theta, it's very hard to know because we have this pump, right? We have the liquidation, and now we're stuck right in the middle of the retracement level. So we're battling under the 618. So it can either go either way. Now, to bet on the safe side, we come down and we have a correction, right? Or at least A, B, and we come down for C, then we can go. Or some type of ranging before we go. Now, if it wants to go now, then that's fine. But if we do go too soon, then my worry is, we'll get up here, but then we'll just have to take longer to correct again. I say let's just correct now, then go, right? Obviously, I talked about that in I think yesterday's video. So go back. I'm not going to get into it again, but the same thing applies. Go back and check out yesterday's video. So for QNT, same kind of thing. You're sort of, you had this big drop, but then you had a big bounce. This was a big bounce. And now you're sort of stuck in this retracement. So it can either look like this. Same thing for Theta. It can go up, sort of go sideways, then break out. It can go up, then back down, then break out. Or worst case, we have an A, B, and we come down for C, then we go. Right? So it's really hard to know on the short time frame what happens. If we break out, then we know, right? But that doesn't change the fact that I still expect higher prices. I'm talking about the small time frame. Now, when we zoom out and we look at Quant, right? And we zoom all the way out, I'm expecting this thing to break out. It hasn't broken out yet. Now, a good breakout would be this right here, about $155, $160. So we're still a ways away, right? So we can see this shoulder, this head, and now we're in the shoulder. So I would like it to get back up here, maybe consolidate again, and then break out. So I'm expecting higher prices. I just, in the short time frame, it's a little hard to see. But if you look at Quant from a zoomed out approach, it kind of looks the same, right? We have this big bump to the upside, a big crash, and then a retracement, and now we're sort of going sideways, waiting to see if we go this way or this way. My guess is we go this way because of the market's bullish, right? XLM, XLM looks bullish. We have a structure here. It appears to be a Wyckoff It's a little awkward one, but 16 cents is the one we got to break. We got to break above this high. I mean, we already broke above this high, and that was really good. So, yeah, look at that. Let me go to the weekly chart here. I think we did that. Or did we do that? Yeah. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, we broke it, but by a hair, right? So this weekly chart is going to be even more significant because it's going to be a more confirmation, right? So as long as we stay above this black line, I think we're bullish for the time being. So 1, 2, maybe we get up here, maybe we come back and back test it. That's always a good thing. Going down is good if we're back testing. Going down is good if we're correcting. Going down is good after a long bull run, right? Or after a long pump. So pullbacks are bullish. So yeah, I think let's take a step back and look. Now XRP also looks pretty good. Let me get rid of this. Yeah, it looks really good. Look at we now have a bullish hammer candle, right? We broke above the bull market support band. We spiked right through it, right? Now we're sitting above the previous candle. That's important. So my whole goal for XRP is to close above this candle. That's what we want. We want it to close above that candle. Now, we also want it to close above these highs, right? And then hopefully, if we're lucky, we can break above these highs. This is the big daddy right here. If we can have a weekly close above 66 cents, I mean, we're looking really, really good. Really good for XRP, right? And then XRP is also a series of what? 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're just sort of waiting, right? XRP has that 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So as long as we don't take out this low here, right? I think we're looking really good. We're back above the bull market support band. We have, I mean, you guys know what I think about XRP. A lot of people don't like it. I get it. I understand. But from a technical perspective, you have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. Just like how it occurred down here, right? Same thing. You have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. So we're sort of in this range, just like over here. You're in this range and you're getting ready to hopefully break out, right? And then also, if you look at XRP, it is the biggest range in crypto history. It is the biggest base, I should say. The bigger the base, the higher in space. Well, if that's true, which everybody agrees that's true, then what is the biggest base? It's XRP. So, and XRP is a top 10 coin, right? And XRP never broke out into a new all-time high. And it had a lawsuit attached to it. And it still held a top 10 title. And it had a retracement, never broke out, still held a top 10 title. Had exchanges delisting it, still held a top 10 title. So it's got strength, right? So during its weakest times, it looks really strong. During its strongest times, you have no idea what this thing could potentially do. So yeah, I mean, it just looks like symmetry to me, right? I mean, don't you see the pattern? It doesn't take a genius to see, like, you go sideways, you break out. You go sideways, what do you think happens? You break out, right? So, you know, you build it's like you're stepping higher. So now that doesn't mean today, tomorrow, next week, right? It could take still a long amount of time, but the way this pattern is developing, it's looking really bullish, especially this bullish engulfing back above the bull market support band, and then the following weekly candle wicking off of it, right? At the same time, Bitcoin near its all-time high, and not just XRP, but all the coins. I'm talking all of them are in a bullish sentiment. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have corrections, big corrections. Now for XRP, I don't really see that much of a big correction versus like, something like Theta could potentially have a bigger correction only because it broke out so massively. And that's a good thing. That's what we want. Theta broke out huge. So with those big breakouts could come, corrections, right? And like I've been saying, we can correct all the way back down to 166, 175, right? Somewhere down here and here before breaking out. And if that happens, I am super bullish. Why? Because then it's a 1-2-1-2, right? If we don't get that 1-2-1-2, then it's going to be a 1-2-3. We get a little pullback, then a 5. So 1-2-3-4-5. So if you're a Theta bull and you're a Theta hodler and you want Theta to go up as high as possible, then you should cheer for Theta to come back down and backtest this area. Right? Now, that doesn't mean it can't be incredibly bullish without backtesting that area, right? But if you want clear signals, then you kind of want that. Now, this thing can easily just flag out a little bit, then continue higher, right? And then once we get up here, that's when I get really cautious. And depending if Bitcoin's above its all-time high or not, it's going to make me say, okay, should I add more? Should I wait? Or should I even take profits? Because this is going to be the big area when we get up here. If we get up there, right? My whole thinking is we will get into the retracements, right? We haven't even hit let's see, where are we on the retracement here? We haven't even hit the first retracement yet. So the first retracement's at $6.39. Thereabout. Okay, so man, I'm already at 1 hour and 11 minutes. I know this one broke out. Fetch.ai looks very good. Would I buy it? Probably not. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have a pullback, so you have a 1, 2. You have a 1, 2. So this is 1, this is 2, and now this is 1, 2, probably 3. You get 4, you get 5. So that's a 1, 2, 3. Then you get 4, then you get 5. So, you broke out into a new all-time high. Anything can happen. You can come down and backtest, continue, or you can just continue, right? So it's hard to know. I wanted to look at Theta versus Ethereum. I think someone asked for that. Theta versus Ethereum looks really bullish. Look at this. Even though Theta is rampant, both of them are, but you can see, right? This whole downtrend here. You have this move up, you have this move down, you're back at the lows, you created a base, and now you broke above it. So it looks like it wants to get back into action here. So Theta versus ETH looks really good. I think that's about it. H-bar. Yeah, see, H-bar is already back. I know this is the market cap, but it's already back at the 618. So I'd be very cautious with H-bar, right? Because it's already up here. So for me, I'm looking for coins that are still below their 382, around the bull market support band. I think that's it for rapid fire. Let me see ADA real quick. ADA, it's the same thing as sort of Theta, right? You have this range, right? We broke out of the range, and now what happens? Continuations, right? So we had this Wyckoff, boom, boom. Here's your spring, right? Your liquidity, your pump. We play around here, then we continue higher. So my target for ADA, well, this is the market cap, but it's 26 billion. I'd say 41 billion. Total SHIB. Man, I missed out on SHIB. I'm mad, but it's okay because I was holding it too, but I decided to rotate into other coins, and that was a mistake. Let's see. Others. This is everything excluding the top 10. So this is all your altcoins. For others, what we want to see is a weekly close above the 618 and the 702. So the big goal for the altcoins is looking at this chart, and we really want to get above this range. If we can close above that range, it's not going to happen immediately, right? Because we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we pan out for a fourth wave. Then we get that fifth wave. And fourth waves usually take a while. So we'll see. Maybe they might come later. Maybe they've already started. But the point is we want to break above that area. So, and I think we will eventually. Cyber, very brand new coin. I have no idea where it's going to go. I could have bought it a lot sooner. It's already at $11. I think I was looking at it around $5 or $6. Yeah, I have no idea about that one. It looks like it looks bullish, that's for sure. Dot is the same type of story, right, as ADA and Filecoin and Theta, right? Same kind of thing. You have your Wyckoff, right? You come down, you take the liquidity, you have a sharp move up, you back test the bull market support band. Now you're breaking the range. So the question is, do you sort of play around on the range, then continue, or do you just continue, right? I would suspect maybe a little cool off throughout the weekend, and then start off next week, continue higher. But the goal for DOT, and DOT definitely has some upside potential, would be right here at $14. So that would be sort of the next area I would look for DOT to get to. It's currently at $10.44. So this is Bitcoin versus the British pound. And you can see we have broken out into a brand new all-time high. We had a weekly close and a following candle. So this is important, right? And not just the British pound, but I think the Indy, the rupee, the ruble, what else? I think the yuan, and I think like 30 countries, right? We broke out into a new all-time high. So we'll see. ZRX, kind of looks like maybe a little bit of XRP, but it doesn't have this move. It doesn't have the history back here. We did have the retracement. We did come down for reaccumulation. We did create the base. We broke above the base. We back tested the bull market support band and the base, and now we started to continue lifting off. But we are running into resistance. So we'll see if we can get back up to, in this area, $100.20, I would say, if we can continue breaking out. Zill definitely looks different. We have, looks like a big flag pole and a flag, right? And we broke above the flag, and it looks like, depending how you draw it, right? Let me see. I gotta wrap this video up. It's getting too long. Oh no. We broke above the bull market support band. We back tested it. It's looking pretty good. So the goal for ZIL would to be, for a weekly candle, is to close above 0.033, and currently we're at 0.035. So we want to close above these highs. If we can close above those highs, then either a back test from there, a continuation, or simply continuation. So I think that'll do it. XDC, I'll do XDC real quick. XDC looks like it's got some problems. It needs to get above the bull market support band. It doesn't look really good because it looks three wave-ish. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then an ABC, and now it looks like it wants to go down, honestly. But maybe this is turning into something like this. That could be the case too. So you sort of want this to round out, or you're going to get sort of in a dangerous situation. But it does look sort of like you have a flagpole and this is a flag. So it looks like it's flagging out. Okay, last one, VeChain. Looks good. We broke above the range, right? We back tested the bull market support band. So now we're sort of at that first target area, right? So we'll see if we can get to the next target area. So that first target, so the price currently is 0.047. That target area was 0.044, which it reached and surpassed. The next target area potentially is 0.08. So from the look out of it, it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 5's not finished. Or if you count it more zoomed out, 1, 2, all of this is 3. We get 4, then 5. So yeah, that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. The video's long. Help me out, please, with the algorithm. I'd really appreciate it. Comment, like, and if you have any coins you want me to take a look at, I'll add it to the list. I don't know if I got all of them. I haven't checked the comments. I was running short on time, but I'm sure there's some on there already on the comments. But go ahead and comment again. And I'll add it to the list for next week, rapid fire. But yeah, that'll be it for this video. Appreciate you guys listening, watching, and wow, what a crazy liquidation event. But also what's even cooler is crypto bounced back, and that's what it's all about, right? You get knocked down, you get back up, right? So let's see how this correction sustains, right? Where we bounced up, but some of them haven't broken the top. Some of them are in the retracement areas. Let's see what next week brings, and let's see what the weekly candle brings. So that'll do it. Catch you on the next one. Cheers.